Did a book it took me about 5 years, and it had to do with U.S. government recruitment of Nazis and Nazi collaborators in the wake of World War II. And in the course of doing this book, it involved a large number of Freedom of Information Act requests and quite a bit of archival research and that type of thing. And the book ended up winning a couple prizes.
Let's see the book.
Sure. Buy this book, now available in paperback. If it's not in your store, ask why it isn't.
And so what's the title mean?
The title is Blowback, and that's spy jargon for a covert operation that begins successfully overseas, but it goes wrong, and it blows back in your face with unexpected and negative results. Part of the difficulty in dealing with these kind of issues is that television, the framework or the format of television, is not particularly good for handling complex stories, and particularly when stories deal with a lot of documentation or a lot of documentary research. If you think about television, and you think about what you see on television, you'll find that TV is really good at car chases, it's good at gunfights, it's good at conveying emotional stories, but it's not particularly good at evidence or presenting intricate arguments. One thing, I mean, take for example, if you had a discussion between Albert Einstein and Mo Howard of the Three Stooges as far as nuclear physics. Okay, well, you got Albert Einstein over here, and you get Mo Howard over there. You give Mo a few lessons from a Madison Avenue advertising firm about how to appear on television, how to articulate ideas, and bango, Mo Howard is going to be as credible on television as Albert Einstein is. This creates problems in having intelligence discussions of particularly the underside of society, or the hidden aspects of the way the government works. So one thing that I do in this book is use the archival record, the U.S. National Archives and stuff from obtained through Freedom of Information Act, to try to get at the hidden history of American intelligence agencies in the wake of the war, wake of World War II. And the particular example that I'm looking at are the use of Nazis, particularly Nazis as intelligence agents. And one reason for looking at Nazis is that it's an important question on its face, what became of these people. But another aspect of it is that the moral issues are rather clearly drawn. You talk about the Iran-Contra affair or something like this, and you can always have a Oliver North type or John Poindexter or someone who comes on and says that the Nicaraguan Contras are noble freedom fighters and so on. But when you're talking about Nazis, the moral issues tend to be rather clearly drawn. And one thing that I found during the research was that even people who were the personal staff of Adolf Eichmann, who were the central administrative apparatus of the mass extermination programs, even people like that were considered suitable for recruitment as intelligence agents.
Why?
Well, the rationale, or the official explanation, is that they had something special to offer, that their contribution would somehow protect the United States. So then what one has to do is to examine that rationale. Is it true or is it false? What did these people actually do when they were on the payroll? And what you find is not a heck of a lot. The documentary record for a number of these senior Nazis is very clear today. You can go back and inspect it for yourself. What you find is, for example, we protected Klaus Barbie, who was the Gestapo chief of Lyon, France. Lyon's a big town, you know, it's like Pittsburgh or something like that. It's a big industrial town. This guy was chief of secret police. Here's a man who made his mark during the war by deporting orphan children to death camps. That's what he did for a living. And the decision was made by Army intelligence to protect him after the war because supposedly he could make this contribution. And what was the contribution? Well, you go out and you look at his file today, you find he would collect leaflets that communists handed out on street corners in small towns in Germany. He had his boys go out, and there was a collection of gossip and rumors and information, intelligence, quote unquote, about the French and the Romanians and so on.
So these guys were there because they were anti-communist.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, there was a Cold War mentality that the phrase, you know, I interviewed a ranking CIA officer who was in charge of some of these programs, and his phrase was any bastard as long as he's anti-communist.